Good morning, everyone. So, today we'll be doing English language, and the chapter which we are going to learn today is conditionals. Okay, so before starting the discussion of the chapter or before getting into the details, let us look at the following examples and observe these sentences. If I study, the first sentence is read as if I study, I will pass the exam. Okay. Next sentence says, if we had looked at the map, we would not be lost. Okay. Then the third sentence is, if it rains, the grass gets wet. Now, what do we observe in these three sentences? We observe that all these three sentences, they are beginning with a word if. Okay. This word if, all these three sentences have the word if. Now, when we see that the sentence is beginning with if, and we have two parts in a sentence, okay, what are the two parts in these sentences? If I study is one part, while I will pass the exam is the next part. Similarly, if we had looked at the map is one part, and we wouldn't be lost is the second part. And likewise, in the third sentence also we have two parts. That is, if it rains, and then the grass gets wet. Now, these all these sentences which are beginning with if, okay, till here, till the first part, this is providing the condition. Okay, this is providing the condition. Like in the second part also, second sentence also, if we had looked at the map, this is also the condition. And in the third sentence, if it rains, this again is a condition. And the next part of the sentence, this part, this is what it is giving us the result. Okay, the second part which is following is the result, or it is the consequence of the condition which is given in the first part of the sentence. Now, such kind of sentences which contain two parts in it, the first part being the condition, while the second part being the result or the outcome or the consequence of the situation given, those type of sentences are known as the conditional sentences. Okay, so let us see the definition of the conditional sentences. What is a conditional sentence? A sentence that has two clauses, one that tells about a condition and the other that tells about the result, is called a conditional sentence. Okay, so the first part which contained the if word, that is known as the conditional clause. Okay, this clause we have already done in the previous class, right? So this is known as the conditional clause, while the second part which contains the result, that is known as what? That is known as the main clause. Okay, so this is what has been said in the definition, that it is a sentence. Conditional sentence is nothing but a sentence that has two clauses, where one clause tells about a condition and the other tells about the result of the condition, and therefore it is known as a conditional sentence because it contains the condition. Now, why do we require conditional sentence? It is used to talk about a result that may happen only if a condition happens first. Only if the given condition happens, then only the following result will happen. So if we are required to use such kind of sentences, okay, then we use, if there arises such kind of situation, then in order to express that, we use conditional sentences. Okay, so let us see the two parts of the conditional sentence. Suppose here it is given, if it is cold, I will stay home. This is a conditional sentence, right? Now, let us split it and try to understand what has been given in the definition. We splitted this conditional sentence into two parts, that is in the if clause and in the main clause. The if clause will contain the if part of the sentence till the comma. If it is cold, this is the if clause. Okay. Then I will stay home is the main clause. Main clause, I hope you remember what is the main clause. If you don't remember, then you can very well watch the videos, okay, on the clauses. So this is the main clause where we have a subject, we have a finite verb, and it is standing on its own. I will stay home. It is giving us a complete meaning. It is standing on its own. It is making complete sense. Therefore, it is a main clause. And the if clause is what? It is containing if. Therefore, it is known as if clause. And obviously, it is a dependent clause. While the main clause is an independent clause. Okay. This we already did when we were doing the chapter clauses. Okay. So now let us see what are the four types of conditional sentences. First of all, there are four kinds of conditional sentences. The first being the zero conditional sentence. Okay. Zero conditional sentence. Second is the first conditional sentence. First conditional sentence. Then comes the second conditional sentence, and the last one is the third conditional sentence. So what do we have? We have four types of conditional sentences. The first one is zero conditional sentence. The second is first conditional sentence, and the third is the second conditional sentence, while the last one and the fourth is what? The third conditional sentence. Okay, so these are the four types of conditional sentences, and we will look into each one of them very carefully. Now, first in the order is the zero conditional sentence. First of all, let us look at the example. See here. If I am late for school, my teacher gets angry. So what is the condition? That if I am late for school, okay, if I am late for school, my teacher gets angry. What will be the result of the situation? If I'm late, then what will be the result? That the teacher gets angry. What do we observe? That the tense, okay, in order to identify the different kinds of conditional, we have to look at the structure of the sentence given, and in the structure of the sentence the tense plays the main part. Okay, so we have to very carefully look at the tense which has been used in order to know what kind of conditional has been used in the sentence. So in the first part of the sentence, what we have? We have a simple present tense, okay? And in the second part, that is in the main clause also, we have simple present, right? So when the zero conditional comes, we should, we'll observe that after if there is a simple present tense in the if clause. And in the main clause, there is again a simple present tense, okay? So when after the subject in the main clause, we get a simple present tense. So when in both the parts of the clause, in both the clauses of the sentence, we find the simple present tense, then we know that it is a zero conditional sentence. Okay. Now see, if I oversleep, this is the condition. If I oversleep is the condition where oversleep is simple present. Okay. I miss the bus. Again, here miss is what? Miss is the simple present because we do not have any kind of helping verb over here. Okay, so this is again a simple present. So in the if clause also we had a simple present, while in the main clause also we have a simple present. So if we combine both of them, that is if I oversleep, I miss the bus, this becomes a zero conditional sentence. Then if I miss the bus, I am late for school. Again, here is the other condition. If I miss the bus, I am late for school. So again here this if I miss the bus is also a simple present. Here I am late for school is also a simple present. So this again becomes a zero conditional. Now let us look at the last sentence, that is if I am late for school, my teacher gets angry. So again both the parts of the sentences have what? They have simple present tense. So therefore it is a zero conditional sentence. Now let us look at the function or where usage of such kinds of sentences. Where do we use zero conditional sentence? So it is used when the time referred to is noun. That is, if I am late. Where do we use simple present tense? We use simple present tense for a habit, for a routine, or for something which is happening at the moment, or which happens always. Okay, so that is what where we use simple present tense. So therefore the usage of the zero condition will also be somewhat like that only. So it is used when the time referred to is now or always. The situation in the sentence is real and possible, that is most likely to happen, and it is generally used to state the general truth. That is, if I am late for school, my teacher gets angry. That is the natural reaction of the teacher when you arrive late to school, or when you oversleep. You are most likely to get late. Okay, so these are the very possible or most likely situations which are talked in the zero conditional sentences. Okay, now the second type of sentence is the first conditional sentence. In the first conditional sentence, we have the if and then simple present. Okay, again we have simple present here. Simple present. Okay, and then in the main clause we have the modals like will, can, may, must. Okay, so these are the modals which are present in the main clause, which yes. So these are the modals which are present in the main clause. Okay. Here in the first, what is the difference between the first conditional and the zero conditional? That is, in the zero conditional, the main clause had the simple present tense. The main clause also had the simple present tense, while in the first conditional, the main clause is having the modals like will, can, must, may. All right, and then these modals are followed by the verb. So if you look at this sentence, if you look at this example, if I go to London, I will see the Big Ben. Now, if I go to London, this is what simple present tense. Okay, this is simple present. So the first condition is satisfied. That is, the if clause is having a simple present, right? Now let us look at the second condition, whether it is fulfilling or not. When we look at the second condition, what do we observe? That yes, it is having a will, it is having a modal verb, a modal auxiliary, and then it has a verb. Okay, so yes, the second condition is also satisfied. So we come to the conclusion that yes, it is a sentence which is a kind of first conditional sentence. This is an example of first conditional sentence. So what are the two conditions which we should look for in a first conditional sentence? It is that the if clause should be in the simple present. Okay, the verb should be simple present, and then in the main clause we should have a modal, and which is followed by a verb. So these are the two conditions, and this is also the difference between the main clause, difference between the zero conditional and the first conditional. The if clause remains the same for both of them, while the main clause has the difference. In the zero conditional, the main clause had simple present, and in the first conditional, the main clause has what, modal verb and modal auxiliary followed by the main verb. So this is the condition. If I go to London, what will I do? I will see the Big Ben, which is there in London. Okay. So when we merge the two, we get a conditional sentence of first type. Now, where do we use? What is the usage of first conditional sentence? It refers to the present or future situation. Okay, it refers to the present or future situation, future where the situation is real. It refers to a possible condition and its probable result. Okay, so it is here we talk about something real. Okay, like going to London is a very possible thing. So one can go to London, and on when one reaches London, what will he do? He will see the Big Ben. Yes. So it is used to refer to the present or future where the situation is real. Okay, if I go to London, that is a real situation, and it refers to the possible condition that if one goes to the London, if I go to London, then I will see the Big Ben. So this is the possible condition, which is uh, which is very much practical and realistic. Again, another example, if I go to Buckingham Palace, I can take a photo of the royal guard. Okay, so this is also talking about the real situation and its possible result. Another example, if you go to London, you must look right before crossing a street. So you can see, if you observed, if you notice that here all the three different kinds of modal auxiliaries have been used in the sentences. Okay, here must has been used. See, must look. So this is what the sentence looks like when we use must in the first type of conditional, while in the previous ones we had what? See, we had can. So when we use can, this is what the sentence looks like, and here we had will. Okay, so these three sentences, they had there was a motive behind picking three different sentences in order to show you that how do we use different kinds of modals in the first type of conditionals. Okay, now we come over to the second conditional sentences, second type of conditional sentences. See, in the second kind of conditional sentences, we have if in the if clause. I'm so sorry. If in the if clause, and then what follows if? If is followed by a simple past tense. Okay, past simple. So if, then we have simple past. It is very easy to identify because in the previous two which we have just done, they had the simple present in the if clause, whereas here in the second conditional we have a simple past in if clause. Okay, so in the if clause we have a simple past tense, and then in the main clause, obviously when the first part is in past tense, then the second part will also be in the past tense. So whatever models we did in the first type of sentences, the first type of conditional, that they all can be used in the second conditional, but in their past form. Okay, the past form of will is would. Then again, can, we were using can in the first conditional, so the past form of can is would, and might is the past form of may. Okay, so let us look at the example. If I were an astronaut, so if I were an astronaut, this is written in simple past. Okay, so the first condition is satisfied. Then in the second part, I would travel in a space. The would is written without any have. Okay, so I would travel. Second conditional has would. Then immediately would is followed by the verb, main verb. Right? So this is the structure of the second conditional. So I would travel in a spaceship. This becomes our sentence, our second conditional sentence, that if I were an astronaut, then I would have traveled. I would travel in a space, not would have. I would travel in a spaceship. So if I were an astronaut, I would travel in a spaceship. What is it referring to? It refers to a hypothetical condition and its probable result. Hypothetical means something which is assumed, which is very less likely to happen. Okay, which is a kind of idealistic thing. Uh, like the probability or the possibility of it to happen is very, very less. Okay, next to minimum. So it is used, so hypothetical means that only. So it refers to a hypothetical condition which is assumed. Okay, and its probable result, and these sentences are not based on fact. Okay, suppose it is used to convey our wishes or dreams, or like hidden dreams, you can say. So it is not very much related to the reality. Okay, then if I traveled in a spaceship, I would go to Mars. Okay, here again, what do we see? Let us look at the different examples. If I traveled in a spaceship, I would go to Mars. Traveled is what? It is simple past. So the first condition satisfied, and I would go to Mars. The second condition is also satisfied because with would we are having a verb. So this becomes a second condition. Next is if I went to Mars, I would meet a Martian. So now if I went to Mars, let us look at the components which we did in the definition of the conditional sentence, whether it is fulfilling or not. If I went to the Mars, yes, it has a simple past. It is in simple past. Okay. I would meet a Martian. Here, what do we have? We have a would with with the verb. So this is again a conditional sentence of second type. Now moving on to the last type of conditional sentence, that is the third conditional. Okay. Now here we have what? We have again if clause, an if clause and a mean clause. In the if clause we have past perfect and not simple past. Okay. In the second conditional we had simple past, and in the third conditional we have a past perfect tense. And in the main clause we have would, could or might, these modals, plus have plus past participle. Okay. So we can say that here we have perfect kind of sentence in the main clause also. Okay. A perfect, any kind of perfect tense is what? It has a have and then past participle. So let us look at the example. If I had studied hard, I would have passed my exams. Now, if I had studied hard, see, this is the past perfect because it has a had verb and it has the past participle. So when has, have, had is combined with the past participle, it becomes a perfect tense. And now when we use had and not has and have, then we have a past perfect tense. So this is in past perfect. And the next part of the sentence, I would have passed my exam. What is it? It is written in, it is again written in the perfect form, but would is used over here. Always would, could or might will be used, not will, can or may. You will not use will, can or may in the third conditional. We will always use would, could or might plus have plus past participle. This is the format of writing third conditional. Okay. Now let us look at the examples. If you had studied hard, you wouldn't have failed your exam. Now, if you look at the sentence, what kind of situation is being portrayed over here? That this boy, he didn't study hard. Okay, first of all, he didn't study hard. So the condition says that if he had studied hard, but in reality, he did not, you wouldn't have failed. So this is the outcome of the situation which is given, which is supposed over here, but in reality what is the result? That he has failed. Okay. So these these type of sentences, they are used to refer to the situation that is opposite to the reality. Okay, the reality, what is the situation in reality? That this boy, he did not study hard and now he has failed. Okay, but this is the real situation. But here in the third conditional sentence, we represent a situation that is quite different or quite opposite from the from what is there in reality. So the situation is saying in the third conditional that if you had studied hard, which is opposite to the real condition that he did not study. So if you had studied hard, you wouldn't have failed your exam. So you wouldn't have failed exam if he had studied hard. But in reality, the things are opposite; they are contrary. So it refers to the time. What is the usage? It refers to the time in the past and to the situation that is opposite to the reality. This is the important thing, that is opposite to the reality. Okay, so the facts in reality are quite contrary to what is expressed here. What is expressed, that if the boy had studied he would have not failed, but this is contrary to what will be the situation in the reality. What must be the situation in reality, that the boy did not study hard and he has failed. So I hope you are getting the difference now. Okay, again, if you had passed your exam you could have gone to the beach. So this is the situation. Again, a situation which is different, which is opposite from what is it there in reality, because the boy has failed and he is not going to beach now. But again we are using the conditional sentence, so we will be writing, if you had passed your exam you could have gone to the beach. Okay, in now here again another conditional sentence of third type. If I had gone to the beach I would have made sand castles. But what, where is he now? See, it is all there in his thought, but where is he now? He's sitting right there, very sadly, because he has failed his exam. So what is he thinking, that if he had gone to the beach he would have made sand castles, but in reality he nothing of such kind is happening. Okay, so now let us revise what we have done so far. The first kind of conditional, the zero conditional, what it used to express. How could we find that if the sentence is having zero conditional? Both the clauses, that is the if clause and the main clause, they were written in simple present, and then we come over to the first conditional. There we had the if clause in the simple present, while in the main clause we had will. Okay, and then in the third conditional we had a simple past in the if clause, and would or could or might, these were all present in the main clause. And in the third conditional we had past perfect in the if clause and would plus have plus past participle in the main clause. Okay, so now let us practice if we have understood it well. The first exercise is you have to identify the type of conditional sentences in these 5 sentences, and you'll get 10 seconds. So start writing your answers and then get back to me with your answers. So the first one, if we had, sorry, it's written, sorry for the typing error. If we had, okay, here, if we had listened to the radio, we would have heard the news. Shubh was the very first person to raise his hand, so Shubh will be getting the chance to answer. Come on, Shubh. Yes, Shubh, if you are here.
The first sentence is the third conditional sentence.
Third conditional. Okay. Can you
Yes.
elaborate? Can you explain your answer? Why is it third? Why is it the third conditional sentence?
Ma'am, because had is there.
Because in the
And
first of all,
happened in the past.
okay. First of all, tell me where is the if clause and where is the main clause? Yashi, pay attention.
If we had listened to the radio is the if clause.
Yes, correct.
We would have heard the news, the main clause.
Very good. So the if clause is in past perfect, while the main clause is having what? Would plus have plus past participle. So very good, absolutely correct. Okay, now the second one will be answered by Inshra Ilyas. Yes, Inshra.
Ma'am, the answer will be second conditional sentence.
Okay, why? Yes, it is
Ma'am, because
correct.
it is written.
What were the conditions? What is the structure of writing down a second conditional sentence?
Ma'am, because there in the second, it is written she could reach his goal. So could will be the second conditional sentence.
No, the first thing which you should notice is that in the if clause we have a simple past tense. Okay, and then in the main clause we have a modal auxiliary which is written in its past form. Otherwise, your answer was absolutely correct, second conditional. But you should also be ready with the explanation also. Okay, if somebody asks you why is it a second conditional, so you should know the answer. Well done. Okay, next
Okay, ma'am.
is if she does not hurry, we will miss the bus. This will be answered by Saksham. Yes, Saksham.
Ma'am, first conditional sentence.
Very good. It is first conditional sentence, and Yashi will tell me why is it first condition.
Ma'am, it is in first condition because there is a possibility of as if she will hurry, then we can catch the bus.
Very good. You gave the explanation from the point of view of its usage, but Divyanshi will give me the explanation from the point of view of the structure.
Yes, ma'am. Because it is simple present in the first clause, and in the second clause it is since simple future.
Very good. We do not say first and second, we say if clause and main clause. Okay, absolutely correct. All three of you, well done. Next is the fourth one. It will be answered by Arav Shukla. Yes, let me hear you. Yes, Arav. Okay, Ananya Mittal, if you can hear us.
Mind is
Okay,
there?
Arav. Yes, yes, Arav.
And the fourth one is third conditional sentence.
Very good. It is a third conditional sentence, and Tanishka will tell me why is it the third conditional. Very good, Arav. You can mute yourself.
Ma'am, it is third conditional sentence because the if clause is in past perfect tense and then the modal would is used and the past participle form of verb is used in the main clause.
Absolutely correct, because here we have in the if clause past perfect tense, and in the main clause we have modal which is there in past tense. That is good. It is followed by have and then the past participle. Absolutely correct. Tanishka and Arav, brilliant answers. Next is if you heat the ice, it melts. Who will give the answer now? Arpit, yes. Yes, Arpit. What happened? Okay, Sanvi. Sanvi, give the answer.
Ma'am, it is a zero conditional sentence.
Zero conditional sentence. So Aradhya, can you tell me why is it a zero conditional sentence? Aradhya Yadav. Who can tell me why is it a zero conditional sentence? Priyanshi, can you?
Because if clause is in simple present and main clause is also in simple
Very
present
good.
tense.
Absolutely correct. Very good, everyone. Those who have participated, those who have answered, and those who have raised your hands. Absolutely brilliant. Now let us move on to the second exercise. Here you have to apply a little bit of your brain, and you have to complete these sentences with the correct conditional. If it rains today, just focus on what is the tense of the if clause and accordingly fill in the main clause. So take your time. I'm giving you 1 minute time. The first sentence, if it rains today, then there's a blank. You have to give the correct answer. Let me see who will give the answer. Yes, Manjiri? Yes, what will be there in the first? Yeah.
If it rains today, we will cancel the trip.
Very good. We will cancel the trip because
So,
see, in the first, the if clause is in present, simple present. So there is only two possibilities of framing the sentence. There is either the sentence could be in zero conditional, or it can be written in the first conditional sentence. So Manjari has very correctly written, completed the sentence, and that becomes a first conditional because she has used will. If we would have used simple present tense in the main clause as well, then it would have become a zero conditional. Correct? Okay. Anybody else having a different answer? Who has written the sentence in zero conditional? Who has used the simple present tense in the main clause also? Is there anyone? Anyway, that is also correct. So next is if you walk on footpath, on will be here, on, then dash. There's a dash. You have to complete the sentence. Let me see who will give the answer. Who has not answered so far? Nandika. I wonder if she is. Yes, Nandika. If you walk on footpath, what will happen? Yes, Priyanshi. There's some network issue with Nandika today. Priyanshi, what have you written?
If you walk on footpath, you will be safe.
Very good. You will be safe. Correct. You remain safe also. If you write, if you walk on footpath, you remain safe. If you will write it like this, then it becomes a general truth. Okay, walking on footpath makes you safe. So if you write both the sentence, both the clause in the simple present, then it will be more appropriate. Okay. So if you walk on footpath, you remain safe. Next, if I were a millionaire, then Athar. Yes, Athar. Athar Singh. Pranshu, give the answer.
Then I would buy a case.
You would buy. Anyway, your structure was correct.
I would buy a case.
Yeah. So yes, if I were a millionaire, I would buy games. If he has said, or if I were a millionaire, I would buy an expensive car. Okay. So whatever is there, his structuring was correct. That in the first part of the sentence we have a simple present, while in the second part of the sentence we'll be using. In the first part of the sentence we have simple past. I'm so sorry. And in the next part of the sentence, that is in the main clause, we used would. So this becomes a second conditional. Very good, Pranshu. Next is if we had booked a cab, then Divyanshi,
If we had booked a cab, we would have reached the palace.
we would have reached the palace. Correct. Very good. Or we would have reached on time. Okay, so anything with you can write, but your structure should be correct. Good. If I find her address, then what will happen? Tanishka will answer this. Ananya, I think there's some problem. Manjari, can you hear us? If you can give the answer for the fifth one.
Yes.
Yes, Manjari.
Ma'am, can I answer?
Who is this? Ananya. Yes. Okay. Now you are here. You can answer.
If I find her address, I will go to meet her.
Very good. I'll go to meet her, or I will send her an invitation. Okay. So whatever you are writing, but then again your structure should be correct. So very well done, all of you. I hope you people have understood everything, all the three kinds of conditional. Okay. So thank you so much.